All right, so excellent. So good afternoon or good morning to everyone, depending where you are in the world. And welcome to the 23rd episode of the Risk Mentorship Series. My name is Sandy Moskovitz, and I'm the program director at SWAN. And we're really excited for you to be here with us today for our Smart Skills for a Smart Water Future episode, and what you need to succeed. So before we get started, just a little bit of information about who SWAN is and who RISP is and why we're here today. So SWAN is the Smart Water Networks Forum, and we're the leading global hub for the smart water sector. And RISP is our young professionals 35 and under affiliate. That's really an opportunity for passionate young professionals to network and meet other young professionals, as well as mentors, leaders across the smart water sector, and really help to grow their smart water careers. So, thank you all for being here with us today. And just a few quick updates. So, firstly, we'd like to give a big, warm SWAN and RISP welcome to our fourth cohort of the RISP ambassadors. Here you can see our 10 new ambassadors from across the world. We're really excited to have them on board with us and watch them, A, grow themselves as smart water leaders, but also to have them involved in all of our different RISP activities. So, definitely keep a lookout for these faces. And we'll also share the link in the bio so you can learn more about our ambassadors and who they are and what they're passionate about. And then just a little bit about some of the different RISP initiatives that we have going on in case it's your first time joining one of our calls. So we have a career development program with a very robust career portal with lots of links and valuable resources to really help you fuel your smart water career. Some different smart water courses. We'll actually talk a little bit shortly about a new program that we're going to be launching soon. Our mentorship program, which is what we're at right now. And we'll also talk a little bit more about how our mentorship program is evolving. And also our ambassador program, which we just met our brand new ambassador. So excited to have them on board with us for the next year. So right now we're all joined together for this 23rd episode of the Risk Mentorship Series. But really, when this mentorship project was initially spoken about, kind of brainstormed, the mentorship series and the episode that we're having today wasn't, the last step on the mentorship project series. It was really just the first step. So now we're taking this journey to really expand the risk mentorship project, and we're going to be creating some mentorship pods. So it's going to be small focus groups where you can connect with peers with similar interests across smart water and with mentors, more experienced folks in the smart water industry, and really foster some of those meaningful discussions and connections. So we'll be sharing a survey with you to really help us build out these pods. So if you could take a few minutes to complete that survey, we'd really appreciate that as well. And then soon we're going to be releasing a new smart water teaching series. It's all going to be about smart water networks 101 and really diving deep into the layers and foundations of digital transformation. So as we have more information about that, we'll be sharing that with our community. So very excited for that as well. And we're also launching our RISP Regional Roadshow. So this kind of came into being because our last cohort of ambassadors had the opportunity to help us plan a really dynamic APAC-based webinar that was all about smart sewers. And it was an opportunity not only to bring this great content to our SWAN community, but also for the young professionals and the ambassadors to really take the reins in event planning, what it's like to reach out, contact speakers, getting the event on the schedule, doing some of the marketing. And we saw that it was really like a great win-win for everyone involved. We were able to bring some really unique content to our audience. So based on that, we're going to continue this series where we're going to be having different RISP members from across different regions helping us roll out this webinar series. So stay focused for that. Really excited. Hopefully we'll be having some APAC and Latin America episodes coming up soon. And then lastly, we have our 15th annual conference coming up in Berlin, May 27th to 29th. And we have a really great opportunity for young professionals. Every year, we have a couple of young professionals join us as volunteers at the conference. The volunteer role entails all sorts of things, but mainly note taking at the different sessions and helping to compile summaries at the end of the days to share with everyone who attended. And then on the last day of the conference, those young professional volunteers get to go up on stage in front of the global SWAN audience and share their key takeaways from the conference and what they learned over those 3 days. And then afterwards, write a blog to share with our community. It's a really, again, great opportunity for young professionals who want to see more of the backside of what planning these global smart water events looks like, as well as great exposure, getting to go up on stage and present your thoughts and takeaways after the conference. So if anyone is interested in that, feel free to reach out. We do have a couple of volunteer spots left. And in exchange for volunteering, we do provide you with one complimentary pass to the conference. And as part of the conference, we're having a really, really exciting young professionals workshop. Every year at the conference, we have a dedicated young professionals workshop, every year with a bit of a different theme. And every year, everyone who attends that workshop says that it was their favorite part of the Swan conference. And I'm not making that up. I promise you, everyone says that. So this year, the theme for the Young Professionals Workshop is going to be Level Up. And it's going to be all about using gamification for scaling smart water and what we can do through gamification as far as decision making, planning our water networks, all through a gamification lens. So very, very excited about that. And then I'm going to hand it over to Boyce Mello, a member of our risk leadership team and also the host of our risk mentorship series, to explain a little bit more about what we're doing here today. So over to you, Boyce Mello.
All right. Thanks, Cindy. I hope everyone can hear you, and a very warm welcome to all of you. Welcome to our risk mentorship series. Our title for today is Smart Skills for a Smart Water Future. So our risk mentorship series are basically life and career advice from the best in the smart water sector. So the risk mentorship series is a set of interactive digital interviews with the world's leading smart water sector professionals. The series are recorded and are also made available on our RiSWP page after the series and on our YouTube channel. This is so that our RiSWP ambassadors and all young water professionals can use them for future resources, because in most series we get very insightful information from our set of panelists. I'm very excited about today. So just a few housekeeping rules. I know Cindy mentioned them, but if you joined late, please introduce yourself and where you are from in the chat box. Questions can also be posted in the chat box. So we do have a set of Q&A questions that we are going to ask our panelists, but the audience are also allowed to ask questions. We are going to give you a few minutes towards the end of the session. If you have questions as the session is proceeding, just pop them in the chat. We will allow you to unmute and ask a question. If you are not comfortable reading your question, we will ask it for you. So just getting into it, I think you can move to the next slide, Sandy. Yeah, so introducing our panelist for today, smart skills for a smart water future. I'm not sure if Michael is in yet, but I know our other three panelists are in. So we've got Robert Tinton, Vice President from LVI and Associates. We also have Ben Rukavina, Key Account Manager at ADS Environmental Solutions, and he's also one of our RiSWP ambassadors. So I think it's very great that we have him here. And then we have Razia Farmani, Professor of Water and Engineering, Center for Water Systems at the University of Exeter. So welcome to our panelists. Welcome to our audience. And I think, yeah, we're going to have a very interesting session today. So just getting into it, we'll start by getting to know our panelists before we get into the difficult questions. So for each panelist, we can start with Razia, then move to Ben, and then to Robert. First question is, what is your professional background and how did you enter the water sector? So I think, Razia, if you can open it up for us.
Thank you.
Oh, Michael is here. So sorry, sorry, Razia. I see Michael is in. So we also have Michael Ross, Head of Digital and Data at Jacobs. See, he's joined as well. So yeah, thank you.
Good morning, good afternoon. My name is Razia Farmani. I'm a professor of water engineering from Center for Water Systems, University of Exeter, UK. I started my journey when I was undergraduate as a civil engineer. I had a summer placement at a consultant company, and when I joined them for 3 months, I started. First task they asked me to do was design of a wastewater distribution wastewater collection system for a new development, and they had a tool for that to do it. So basically, We were providing the tool with some data. It was designing a network, and then we were modifying it. When we finished that part of the first phase of that project, I was asked to contribute to another project, which was designing a distribution network for the same suburb. And I noticed that they don't have a software to do that. So we had to do manually. Everything was done manually. So that initiated some ideas in me that I need to do something, design a software for optimizing process, etc. So that's how I started doing my PhD on optimum design of water distribution networks.
Right, thanks, Razia. Ben, over to you, your professional background, and you can include what inspired you to move to smart water.
Yeah. Very happy to be here. So I kind of was brought into the water industry by studying environmental engineering. So kind of from the environmental work, I became really interested in water. I found that, you know, it's this very kind of great intersection between the environment, kind of this very technical engineering, and then also the social aspect. So kind of supporting others and just overall helping people, because water is really important. And then kind of from my studies, I was interested in how new innovation and new technology made it into the industry. And so I was kind of attracted to working at startups and working with smart sensors, and that led me to my work here at ADS, where we kind of, you know, develop and deploy smart sensor solutions in the water industry. So kind of in the wastewater and stormwater side.
All right, thanks, Ben. Robert?
Hey, pleasure to be here as well. Very excited for this. So yeah, my name's Robert Tintin, and I'm a VP over here at LVI Associates. I joined into the space about 5 years ago, where I was mainly working. We're a recruitment company for energy and infrastructure under the Faden International brand, which is the 6th biggest in the US. And LVI Associates just does energy and infrastructure. And I joined about 5 years ago, doing more civil engineering, a bit of land development, a bit of municipal water, wastewater recruitment, and then a couple of years into my career, going to conferences such as, you know, WEFTech, etc., stuff like that, and seeing all this innovation, this new technology around me. I was pretty inspired by what I'd seen, who I was working with. So the company realized that there was a gap in the market for very specialized recruiters that work in water technology and specifically understand the technologies going in. So I decided to build a team around that, and that's where we've been specialized in for the last 4 years.
All right, thanks, Robert. Michael, over to you.
Thank you. So my background is a bit different from the others. I started as an electrical engineer in university and went into robotics. And robotics sounds exciting. I found it extremely boring. And so I left robotics and joined a consulting firm. So CH2M Hill at the time, and joined their advanced facilities group and doing control systems. So I got my PE in control systems and started developing and designing very complex waste treatment and water purification systems for the semiconductor industry. So ultra pure water, right? It's so pure that it doesn't conduct electricity. Right, that's how I got into water and wastewater, and then had the opportunity to develop more and more complex control systems, and to the point where the SCADA systems could no longer accomplish the tasks we were trying to accomplish. And so I was able then to join a group within Jacobs that creates software solutions and technology around how do you take in data sources beyond just the sensors that you have, whether that be rain sensors or National Weather Service or flood monitoring sensors, or do you create soft sensors and other technologies and software to enable that. So both on the AI side and the mechanistic model side, how do we take all that data and make really informed decisions for our clients? So that was my journey into water and wastewater.
All right. Thanks, Michael. Thank you to the panelists for the nice introductions. I think I love that we have people with very different backgrounds. I like that Rob and Michael both mentioned energy sector, so they work with both water and energy. Just a quick question before we get into the nitty-gritty. I just want to understand from you. I know that there's a lot of talk at the moment about water risk, but back in the day, it was mostly about energy, and the energy sector is very much mature right now when it comes to being smart. I think maybe Michael can start first, and then Rob. What has been the biggest difference between the water sector and energy sector from your experience in terms of adopting smart technology or getting the sector to be smart?
You want to go ahead first, Robert, or would you like me to go?
No, you're all good.
Yes. So it has been interesting, right? Being in advanced facilities, semiconductor and data centers, the energy focus in industries like that is very high, right? They have and their ability to adopt new technologies is much different than the water sector, right? Water sector is typically, a semi-government function, and so the ability to adapt technology is much more limited in that there's a higher risk, right? The risk they take impacts people in a different way than if you take that same risk with semiconductor, right? Yeah, the company might lose very significant amounts of money making a poor choice in semiconductor industry, but if you make that same poor choice in the drinking water industry, right, the impact is much different. There's a cost impact versus an impact to life, right, that has to be considered. And so I think the adoption rate within water and wastewater is much more restrictive than in the private industry for those reasons, and rightfully so. So it really becomes, how do you find these things that aren't being done in water yet, but are being done in other industries? And I think that's something I've enjoyed, being able to bring together different industries and say, hey, we solved this in this other industry. And so I would really encourage people to look outside the water industry when they're looking for novel solutions, to see if they've been done in a private industry or someplace else, and that these sensors or these technologies get proven out in that way, so that you're confident that when you employ these in an industry that's can impact people's health and life, that that's a solution that's been tested somewhere else.
Okay, thanks, Michael. And your take, Rob?
Yeah, no, I very much agree with Michael. I think that a lot of why water, and especially smart water, is so interesting is the innovation that's attached to it. And just even looking at, I think that you got to be more careful, especially in the water industry, with what you're dealing with, as Michael kind of touched upon there. But even just some of the clients that we're starting to work with, and some of the technologies that are now coming more so to market, or have been in the market for a few years, leveraging the different types of energy and reclaiming it. So for example, one client we worked with actually has a reactor that efficiently treats the wastewater whilst extracting the clean energy and turning it back into more renewable energy to cut the costs, but then also help their companies achieve more sustainability goals, and tying in the energy back into that and reusing that that product.
Thanks, Rob. Ben, question for you. What are the top skills that young professionals need to succeed in the smart water sector?
I think obviously it's a wide sector, but I think a large understanding of data analytics, kind of as these smart sensors become more cost effective, there's just more and more data streams. So being able to kind of generate insights from that data is really important. I think some kind of exposure to the software development and software as a service side is valuable as well. Not necessarily being able to do the work yourself, but kind of an understanding of software and data visualization, again, is really beneficial. And then overall, project management, right? I mean, all of these are projects that kind of, whether you're developing new technology or actually implementing projects with the municipality, I think, that those skills are really important.
Thanks, Ben. I just want to link it to what Razia said when she opened. You spoke about a lot of skills that we need in smart water. Razia, when you opened, you said when you started, a lot of things were being done manually. So how have digital tools and data analytics changed the way water professional works?
Yeah, we have, that was a long time ago when I did my undergraduate. Yeah, things have changed substantially. And nowadays, with the challenges that we are facing, more needs to be done. But yeah, definitely we are in another level now. Everything is done using software. Even control. I was talking about design at this and that time, but now even remote control, other things, edge computing, other technologies are helping with remotely managing. And in near future, with the advances in data analytics and large language models, all the decisions are, additional support will be there, how to make decisions in real time to change the operation of the system. So lots of advances. Regarding skills that Ben mentioned, I also think the challenges are so complex. Sometimes we need to have other skills as well to be able to see the implementation of these technologies. For example, several years ago, we looked into smart metering at household level and developing some apps to influence user behavior, things like that. Even initial engagement required other skills than engineer or a computer science may have, of like how to engage with the stakeholders with different level of understanding or explaining topic to them. So, for example, we collaborated with social scientists to be able to do some engagement. So the participants, they know it's a safe process, nobody's going to use their data, etc. So, but how to communicate, that was a very important skill to be able to sign up some of the participants for that study that we were doing.
Right. Thanks, Raza. You actually touched on my next question. I know that you mentioned technical skills. Ben also mentioned a few, but I just wanted to get from the panelists, what are the your top two soft skills that a young water professional should learn, and what's the best way to learn them? I know you just touched on communication, which is very essential. I'll start with maybe Michael. So your top two soft skills that a young water professional should invest in?
Yeah, I think they're basic, right? The reading and research. And so I think what's helped me significantly in my career is setting up some news alerts and following the industry, right? And following it from different perspectives, like I mentioned before, of, okay, well, this is a news alert that's about, water specifically, but this is a news alert about AI or some other tangential area that you're involved in, and spending some time reading about those things from different perspectives, I think is really important. I think, we can get insulatory and just, oh, this is my job, and just kind of heads down and doing that work all the time. But if you can can kind of get your head up a little bit and look around and see what's going on around you. I think that's a great skill to have in your toolbox.
Thanks, Michael. A very key skill to have. Robert, your top two?
Yeah, I'd probably say for myself and ones that I probably speak on here would number one be curiosity. I guess again, kind of saying what Michael was saying, but in a slightly different way, is just that desire to always kind of learn something new, even if it's something that you'll never work on yourself, or it's maybe a bit left field in terms of what you do in your department. But I think that's a large reason why we've made so many advancements to where we are now. And then alongside that as well, I'd probably say adaptability. I think water and smart water itself is a global, it's everywhere in the world. So you'll be dealing with different cultures, different stakeholders, and it's finding that way that you're able to adapt your message and who you're around as well to make sure that you're still landing, to the right side and getting everything that you need out of that conversation.
All right, awesome. Thanks, Rob. Ben?
Yeah, I mean, going last, I'll probably echo what everyone else has said, but really, yeah, communication, kind of taking opportunities for public speaking and writing. I think that's really valuable. And then, yeah, that curiosity kind of, I think being a lifelong learner kind of ties into adaptability as well. Just because there's so much change and so many advancements in technology, it's really important to kind of stay on top of that so you can find the best solution kind of for the present problem.
All right, thanks, Ben. Razia, I know you mentioned communication. Is there another soft skill that you would like to add?
And I also work in developing countries as well, the challenges there. And I think in general, adaptation of the technologies requires a lot of other skills. So don't constrain yourself as an engineer or a scientist. I'm going to focus on, because otherwise they will not be implemented. So for example, learning about barriers, for example, ethical issues or governance issues, of why, these are some of the barriers we see in some settings that new technologies are not being implemented. So understanding those will help with better development of the technology that can be easily adapted in different settings and used.
Right. Thanks, Razia. You actually again touched on my next question. We know that we have a lot of innovation at the moment in smart water, different levels of maturity in different countries. What has been the biggest challenge in your experience in implementing smart water solutions? Or getting people to adapt? So, yeah.
Sorry, for example, when we were looking at smart metering at household level, some households, they saw it as a big brother, and they had some concerns about security issues. So this is from user point of view. I think with the utility side issues are adaptability of the new methodology, technology with the existing system. Also, water sector is a little bit risk averse, so they are concerned that if things go wrong, their customers are going to be impacted and the consequences major. So these are some of the challenges that we face in the sector. Obviously, small scale studies, doing some pilots are helping. For example, although some people were saying smart meters may be used for other purposes, now they are showing the benefits of those. So for example, in places that elderly people are living, they are using it as monitoring. Something has gone wrong. They are sending people to check on their welfare. So it's not using for benefit of the users rather than doing something which they are not, they would be happy. So I think this adaptability and considering other factors. For example, we've got water systems that are not equitable. How can we use technology, smart valves, etc., to balance the water so all our users are going to receive equal amount of water, things like that. So yes, just identifying the challenges and trying to adapt the technology so we pass those barriers and use it for the benefit of the customers.
All right. Thanks, Razia. I just want to ask another question now. We've all heard about ethics when it comes to AI and machine learning algorithms, and we've heard a lot of stories about people saying how using AI also consumes a whole lot of water. So as upcoming smart water professionals, how do we ensure that our smart water solutions remain ethical and environmentally responsible? So maybe Michael can start.
Sure. Yeah, as I mentioned in my introduction, I've done work in semiconductor and data centers and know a lot about the water consumption and energy consumption in those areas, and it is significant. But I think the benefits outweigh some of the cons of those approaches. You know, we operate a number of facilities as part of Jacobs, right? That's the service we provide some towns and cities, and so the ability to dial these things in is significant, right? The ability to reduce energy consumption, chemical consumption, when you're watching constantly, right? As an operator, you can only do so much with fixed set points or with monitoring the system. And so I think by going to a more digitally enabled and automated solution, you can actually reduce the overall energy consumption, chemical usage, and environmental impacts. So that's one way that, you know, I think we're going in the right direction, but you do have to be paying attention. The other is kind of the AI data modeling perspective of, well, is there a bias here? Most of those biases come from looking at historic data and that historic data having been biased, right? And so you think back of, well, they had operator, you know, John forever, and well, he may have inadvertently biased the system to provide, you know, better performance for the neighborhoods where he knows people. And so by using that historic data, you have to kind of do some cleaning of it, but ultimately it's going to be more ethical because once those biases are worked out of the system, the computer is not making new biases. It's just building upon what it sees as being performant. And so I think for both energy consumption overall and the kind of the personal biases impacts, the smart water solutions will improve our society in both ways.
Thanks, Michael. And your take, Rob, on remaining ethical and environmentally responsible when adopting smart water technologies?
Yeah, I think the part that I would speak on would probably align more with my field here. But I think it comes down to two things. One, having that balancing that right culture within the workplace and making sure that those values are at the forefront of a company, and then finding the right talent that goes along to try and achieve that vision rather than going out for the easier solution, the one that might maybe use more water, etc., or be the tougher challenge. But I think it comes from the values that the company has first and foremost, and you know how that ethical water consumption usage is, but then also the talent that will go out and drive that message and actually deliver that to the customer.
Right, thanks, Robert. Ben, your take?
Yeah, I mean, I think these are important questions and important things to keep on our mind. I mean, obviously, you know, with AI or something like that, you know, bias is built in, right? But I think, you know, as long as we kind of understand that and don't just say, oh, because a computer generated this solution, it means it's completely unbiased. I think as long as we understand the tools, I hope that we can kind of use them effectively. I think transparency as well is really important. And so whether that's kind of being upfront about where this data is coming from, or even, I guess, in my work specifically, we work on kind of trying to make these collection systems more transparent and actually understanding what is going on in the sewer systems underground. And so rather than just relying on kind of models or previous assumptions, actually seeing the water levels in a system during a rain event, when there might be a combined sewer overflow. So I think these smart water solutions can certainly lead to more transparency and kind of more responsibility, but obviously we just need to be careful. And so it's something we need to kind of remain accountable moving forward and continue to check in and kind of inform the public.
All right, thanks. Take Razia.
I agree with other panelists that benefits are huge. For example, leakage currently in developed countries about 20%, in developing countries about 50%. So if we could use better predictive models to predict where the leaks are happening and address them, this amount of energy, water, chemical is lost through leakage is substantial. So we are contributing substantially to address these issues. Same as Ben mentioned, for example, if we have got better predictive models for our catchments, reducing flooding and reducing the impact that is going to have on the livelihood of the people, it's considering the ethical issues, other things, but the benefits are so high. So why not taking advantage of this opportunity?
Thanks, Razia. Just a reminder to the audience, I will be chat in a few minutes for any questions. So if you do have any questions, panelists, please remember to pop them in the chat. So my next question, I think Michael touched on it a bit, as well as Rob, when they answered one of the questions, is how can young professionals stay up to date with the latest trends in smart water and make sure that we remain relevant in our fields? So maybe Ben, you could start.
Yeah. I mean, I really liked Michael's point about kind of receiving news updates on topics that are of interest. I think kind of staying engaged with organizations like SWAN is great, and I find folks I follow on LinkedIn that often share really interesting kind of new developments there as well. And fortunately, in my job, I get to go to a lot of conferences. So kind of being involved in WEF or other member organizations is really useful as well. So I guess, yeah, just kind of being engaged, I think really helps. And then, yeah, staying curious.
Thanks, Ben. Your advice, Razia?
Same things. Also webinars. Since COVID, it became a common way of engaging with audience. So lots of webinars online, a very useful way of knowing what is happening in the sector, in different developments in technologies, etc. So, and majority of them are free. So I would say, just engaging more with, depending on the career path as well. For example, if some prefer to go academic route, they may decide to do more conferences that are academically focused. But if someone wants to go to industry, there are suitable conferences for those as well, engaging with those.
Thanks, Razia. I know with SWAN and RiSWP, On our website, we have a cool page for resources that young water professionals can use to upskill themselves. So just a question to the panelists, are there any key resources or communities or professional networks that you would recommend for rising smart water professionals? Maybe we can start with Michael.
Yeah, kind of first following up on Ben's point of and raises of conferences, I would recommend that even if you can't travel to conferences, go back and look at those sites after the conferences happen. Many are posting slide decks, and those that don't, often if you see a topic that's of interest, reach out to that presenter. 90% of presenters are more than happy to provide you that slide deck or even a webinar, as mentioned, right? So just because it's not easy, right, take that extra little step, and often you can find that information. And sometimes it's even better. I did that recently with a conference, and you know, I'm having an ongoing dialogue now with that presenter. And so, yeah, reach out to those presenters or to those conferences after the fact and see if content was provided. Some of the other organizations that I participate in is the National Society of Professional Engineers. They put out, again, like I said, a good daily kind of news feed of articles that they've gathered from different publications that are interesting to engineers. There's more water-focused organizations as well. And then again, my background being a control systems engineer, ISA is the organization that most control engineers belong to, kind of they're responsible for the PE exams. So, you know, find those other organizations as well that are a little bit niche or a little bit tailored towards your interest, and get involved. All of them have, you know, magazines or webinars, etc. So find those other organizations to join.
Thanks, Michael. And Rob?
Yeah, I think it's one of the things I realized when I got into this industry very quickly is that the water industry is definitely not shy on events or conferences. It might be sometimes harder to go to. I know that when I was based out of London before I moved to Los Angeles, it seems like the US has a lot of the conferences as well. But yeah, I'd just say really getting involved with them. And if you do have the opportunity to go, there's so many good ones. For example, you know, the International Water Conference held by I think it's the Eastern Society of Pennsylvania Engineers every year. And the ACE conference, the Association of Water Technologies. There's so much more than just WEF Tech. Obviously, that's the one that's always spoken about, but getting yourself out there and learning, and maybe some of more of these niche pockets. Sometimes I actually prefer them because you find yourself kind of embedded in different technologies that you wouldn't, you know, normally see, or just not the same companies every time as well. Additionally, I think as well, just getting yourself involved in some of the LinkedIn groups on there as well. I think you always hear that LinkedIn's becoming more like a professional network for but also similar to Facebook. And a lot of people do like to go out and just post ideas on there or have discussions on there. But you have to put yourself in that situation where you're actually able to access that and see that first as well. So being in a few of those groups should also help.
Thanks, Rob. Razaya, your recommended resources or communities for rising smart water professionals?
I myself am active in IWA as well. They have got specialist groups for different subject area. So depending on your interests, you can engage with those. And one of the things we do in our specialist group, we organize regular webinars and we record them and upload them to YouTube for our specialist group. So I think other specialist groups are doing similar activities as well. So they are available, and some of them are very interesting. So, you know, even if you don't get a chance to attend the webinar, there is resource available to watch the videos later. And earlier, there was a mention of looking at other sectors. My suggestion is when you attend a conference or event, there are a lot of parallel sessions. Don't constrain only to the subject area that you work. You may go to another room and learn some new things that you can adapt or modify and for challenges that you are facing. And sometimes the novelty comes from by attending slightly different events or different conferences, different webinars to learn from there and then see how you can use it in your own sector, in your addressing your own challenges.
Thanks, Razia. And your recommendations, Ben? I know you mentioned conferences. Are there any other resources you'd like to mention?
Yeah, I mean, I think even just to highlight that on conferences again, Michael, I loved what you said about kind of reaching out to speakers, even if you weren't able to attend, and kind of asking for maybe a slide deck or to kind of continue that conversation. I think that's a really good point. And then I guess even potentially volunteering with organizations, or there are a lot of young professional discounts for these events. So definitely taking advantage of that, and even just reaching out and asking. It doesn't hurt to ask. And then, I mean, for kind of more different kinds of skills, I've leaned on some of those free resources like Coursera when I was kind of doing some wireless networking and trying to learn more about that. These weren't skills that I necessarily learned while studying environmental engineering. And I found it really useful to just take some online courses to kind of brush up or learn some new topics. So yeah, definitely recommend that as well.
All right, thanks, Ben. We have a question from Celia, one of our audience. Celia has asked if there are any specific technical skills sought after or at a shortage in the smart water sector. Ben,
sorry,
you're unmuted. Maybe you can start. It's not directed to any specific person, so anyone can answer. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's certainly a lot of skills. I'm not sure if I can speak specifically to kind of where the specific shortage is, but I think overall it's really useful to have this interdisciplinary skill set. So kind of Razia was referencing this earlier, just about maybe with stakeholder engagement, you don't necessarily need these engineering skills or kind of wastewater plant design, right? But actually being able to reach out to the public and kind of communicate. So even like graphic design or again, kind of back to that interdisciplinary aspect. I mean, learning software, but also kind of environment or water resources. So again, I think there's just that ability to kind of look at the wider picture is really useful in the smart water sector.
All right. And Robert, are you aware of any skills sought after or shortages? I know Sandy mentioned that you do some recruitment as well.
Yeah, I think it always depends on where you are in your career, but I think in the industry in general, just because of the nature of the beast, entrepreneurial skills always look good on that side as well. Specifically within them, I think the one that we always hear from clients, even if it's a very technical role, or if it's maybe more of a sales role and less technical, every client wants someone that can engage with customers, be customer facing. And I think the difference there that I always explain to candidates is that doesn't necessarily mean you have to sell. That doesn't mean that you have to go and close a deal that day, etc. It just means that you're someone that can be another face of the business, that you can make someone's experience a lot easier. Whether that's even you doing service as a tech or you're a sales director, it's just saying how's your day going, being open and being able to explain I guess your technology or your service in a way that it might be, I always say it's the way that you explain it a couple of times, because maybe not everyone's as smart and will get it the first time. So just having that patience, being kind, and being that customer facing service mentality is one of the most desired skills that we always get asked about.
Thanks, Rob. Michael?
Yeah, my background again with control systems, I would definitely recommend that instrumentation and controls that people look at that area. So you know, most of the design functions kind of stop once the system is up and running, but the control systems are being operated continuously and often have minor upgrades going on and things. So I would definitely recommend, you know, if you're seeing kind of lulls in the market and looking for work, that you work on your I&C skills. You know, how do you read a P&ID or a control narrative and understand what's going on with the system and being able to interact with it, I think is a key set of skills, right, that really helps you understand the system, but also makes you marketable through those downturns that you might see. So that would be my biased view on something that might get you through a downturn.
Thanks, Michael. Razia, would you like to add anything to that?
Similar things. A few years ago, we were planning to set up a center for doctoral training in our center. So we did a market kind of survey, and we reached out to a lot of water companies, consultant companies, to see what type of skills or knowledge they require from next generation of graduates from our programs. And majority of them were saying that it's hard to attract computer scientists with digitalization, smart water. They were saying they are struggling to attract, because there are other well-paid opportunities for computer scientists. And another thing, they were saying that even if they attract, domain knowledge plays a key role. So therefore, they were looking at someone who is trained multidisciplinary skills, who's got domain knowledge, water aspects, they know very well. They've got computer science knowledge to do data analytics, those kind of things. And in some cases, then how to discuss and convey the message. For example, one of the challenges is lead pipes in water distribution networks. How do you communicate that to your customers without generating too much worry in them, but encouraging them to replace their lead pipes inside the buildings, so to address negative impacts on health? So that was the key message we got from them. And that's what we were working on, to have a multidisciplinary program, so graduates will have domain knowledge as well as data analytics to how to do these smart meter systems, better control, manage them.
Right, thank you so much, Razia. I think this has been very insightful. With 6 minutes left, I'm just going to ask all the panelists for closing statements. What advice would you give someone to look at, someone who is looking into building a career in smart water? And also, could you please just let us know where to find you? So if there are people that are interested in following up, asking questions, or just looking at how you have progressed in your career, where can they find you? So are you on LinkedIn? Are you on social media? So yeah, if you can start with Ben, final words of advice to young water professionals, and where can we find you?
Yeah. So I guess overall, just advice, you know, that being curious and also trying to figure out what your specific story is, you know, what you tell people about why you're interested in working in the smart water industry. I think that's really important, and will, you know, does require some reflection on yourself, but I think that will will pay dividends down the road. And yeah, I'm available kind of on LinkedIn. I'm pretty responsive there, so feel free to reach out. And yeah, happy to talk with all of you.
Right. Thanks, Ben. Michael?
Yeah, happy to have people reach out to me as well. I am on LinkedIn. My name is pretty common, so pay attention. It's at Jacobs, and yeah, I think as far as other kind of things to think about, right? I mentioned it earlier, right? Water isn't just municipal water, so you know, pay attention to those things. You know, I think it's been said multiple times, and it's cliche for a reason, but be the curious one, looking for these things. Obviously, you're engaging by participating in things like this, so that's great. Continue to do that, and I guess the other piece that I would mention is we're doing a lot of work in AI, and just realizing that there's multiple facets to that. Right? Lots of people get excited and focus on the large language models and the ability to get answers that way, but it'll also enable you to do other things as far as the modeling of your system. I think that's the biggest change that's happened in the industry recently, and will continue to transform it, is the ability to model the entire system, right? Previously, the computing power and things, you just couldn't model an entire system effectively or in a reasonable time frame. So as the technology continues to move forward, I would definitely encourage people to think about what does it look like to create a model for your system, and how do you interact with that and grow your skills in that area, because to me that's a large growth area, right? We have the sensors and things. Now we can put all that together into a model. So I would definitely be paying attention to that area as you grow your careers.
Right. Thanks, Michael. I'm Razia. Last words, and where can we find you?
I think in water sector, we, although we are making a lot of progress, but there are a lot of challenges, especially with climate change and aging assets. So there is need for more young talent with, expertise in all areas to contribute to these challenges. So I think whichever path you choose, I think there are a lot to do. So I'm basically wishing you all best, and just you need to be passionate about what you are doing, and you are going to be successful. I am in LinkedIn as well, but if you Google my university profile page, provides a link for my email address as well. I would be happy if you contact me by email as well. Thank you.
Thanks, Razia. And Rob?
Yes. So one, thank you for having me on. I think on my side, yeah, I think water is a very diverse industry. It's you can go in the technical side, you can go down the sales route. You see a lot of engineers move up into the sales side. You can go to industrial applications such as food and beverage, or auto, for example, or just down the municipal route. It's very diverse, and sometimes it takes a while to find where you're meant to be. I don't think that I think the majority of people in the water industry, when they were 8 years old, didn't say I want to be in the water industry so bad, but we all end up here. And I think that the best way to go about it and navigate it would just be to take a few risks, try different things that you normally wouldn't go into. And for example, even being in this talk today is a great one to be in. And then yeah, I think take advice is probably the best advice I can have. Those that mentor you, those around you, even sometimes clients telling you, where they see the industry going. Don't be afraid to speak to a professional. I know that sometimes as a recruiter, we're the scariest people to speak to, and one that you don't want to speak to at all, but always good just to know what's out in the market, and yeah, always have your options open. So just be open and yeah, take risks.
Thanks, Rob. And thank you so much to all our panelists and everybody that took time to attend. The session was recorded, and I know that there was a lot of insights shared today. It will be available on our RiSWP website as well as our YouTube channel. So thank you so much. I don't know if you have any last words, Cindy, before we close.
No, just to echo what you've all said, thank you so much to all of our wonderful panelists and to our host, Boitumelo. I know I definitely picked up a lot of really, really great insights. And yeah, we look forward to sharing more with the community. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks.
Thank you.